This first section focuses on how Unitarian Universalism grounds us in our work for social justice. What does social justice have to do with Unitarian Universalism? As you'll hear a variety of speakers say, quite a lot, historically and in the present day. This section isn't long, but it is dense. I will interject myself into it a few times to ask questions about what the speakers have said. I encourage you to take a while each time I pause, reflecting yourself or talking with others. I urge you to take the time to hear yourself think, using the speaker's ideas as a springboard. As always, what they've said is fleshed out much more in the book, A People So Bold.
I have seen over the past few years what I think I'm interpreting correctly as kind of a widespread yearning in our movement for theological deepening. A sense that we've spent far too many years wandering in the theological wilderness, and this is a very encouraging sign. And I also see a shared sense that we need to move beyond simply helping individuals build their own theologies, as important as that is. And we need to nurture the communal spirit that lies behind this shared longing by working together with our differences to uncover the deeper theological principles we share. Now, I think this can be done. In fact, I think it must be done if we want to realize our full potential of our prophetic voice. And my assumption is that despite our enormous and healthy theological diversity, there is a reason we can all call ourselves Unitarian Universalists. And it's not just that we welcome everybody. There are religious values and theological principles that lie beneath our particular individual theological orientations. And it's these deeper principles that we need to find and clarify and perhaps rename for our time.
Three theological affirmations present in Unitarian Universalism stand out for me as foundational to our social justice activism. First, our positive view of human power and capacity. Second, our attention to here and now as the locus for the realization of abundance, liberation, and justice. Three, our affirmation that all souls, all beings matter. Life is an interconnected relational whole. Each of these theological affirmations has clear social justice implications. First, the positive view of human power and capacity calls human beings to exercise their agency in history. Hence, our no to slavery, because of the way the systems of slavery suppress the richness and the free life of each soul, our no to sexism, to heteropatriarchy, etc. Second, our attention to here and now calls us to immediate engagement with life. Hence our preference for action, our fondness for saying, let us look more to our deeds than to our word to declare our true religion. And thirdly, our affirmation of all souls challenges every system that divides humanity into those worthy of life and those deserving death. Hence our allergy to war, framed as the destruction of evildoers and the triumph of good over evil. We say no to that. We say yes to all souls.
Like many people, I became a Unitarian Universalist because I was already a social justice activist. And I wanted a faith community that would put that activism at the center rather than the periphery. I wrote my doctoral dissertation on peace and justice activists in the early 19th century. Given this background, my first response to the question before us today was to write about our core religious insight, the core religious insight that led me and my 19th century predecessors to religious liberalism. That insight is simple. The holy is right here. We don't need an authoritative scripture or a supernatural God because the sacred fire is already burning among us, especially so when we meet other people in the struggle to realize fully the goodness already present in the world.
I would like to speak to youth ministry as a model of a way of identifying and practicing the radical mutuality that I believe lies at the core of our faith. And radical mutuality is not just a feeling of respect, it's a spiritual practice of open-hearted engagement with others, where all participants commit to honor, be changed by, receive, and be receiving of one another. I do think about our Unitarian Universalist faith, and I think that it's rightful that we should be reminded because ours is essentially an open-ended, future-oriented, in some ways youthful faith. The validity of our faith is only found in the present, in what we do with the past. It's not found in the commandments written in stone or in anything beyond basic principles which we are tasked to find the relevance of in the present moment.
You've now heard 4 speakers describe the way they understand the relationship between social justice and Unitarian Universalism. What was most resonant for you? How would you describe this relationship yourself? What stories would you tell? What parts of history would you lift up? What would you say about your congregation today? I grew up UU in Charleston, West Virginia. Our small fellowship was the center of white resistance to the racism which was then being transformed by the civil rights movements of the early 1960s. My mother actually worked downtown on these issues of equality. At my school, I was a complete anomaly in terms of values. It was with my friends from the fellowship that I could relax and fully be myself. I was told frequently by neighborhood kids, most of whom were Baptist, that I was going to hell. And I learned a lot both about their faith and mine through these encounters. For me, Unitarian Universalism has never been separable from social justice. Growing up in this faith taught me the truth of Dr. King's words. There are some things from which we ought to be alienated. That was a gift that has served me all my life. What gifts does Unitarian Universalism offer to you as someone who wants a more just and equitable world?